What's up YouTube, this is Pickle Para, and today I got kind of a special video for you all. Now, if you've been following me, most of my recent videos have kind of been jokes and funny and a ton of editing, and I've been getting really creative. My last video was very wild, and I'm actually surprised you guys liked it a lot. I got a lot of likes, so thank you for that. But today's video is going to be a little bit different, because today I'm going to be showing you guys my second favorite hobby after video games. Collecting records. As you can see, I have a big stack right here of vinyl records that I've collected over the years, and I figured today, why not show them off to you guys, because it's definitely a pretty passionate hobby of mine, and today's video is just going to be dedicated to learning a little more about me, because who doesn't like that, right? I've done the pleasure for myself of sorting them by when I first obtained them to my most recent records, so we're going to be going through a few of them. These actually aren't all of them. I have a few more that I just kind of left out because I didn't think they'd be very interesting to talk about. And I'm just going to be going through all these and telling you a little bit about them and how I obtained them. So let's get started. The first record I ever collected was Elvis Golden Records, Volume 1. If you don't know, this is the quintessential Elvis record. A lot of people would consider this to be the best Elvis record. Me, maybe not, but it has the classic, got Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock. All the classic Elvis records that he put out in the 50s are on this record. And my first couple Elvis records that I obtained, I got from a buddy from the church that I went to, because we were both Elvis fans. And he said, hey, I have some Elvis records I don't listen to. You want them? And I said, of course. And that kind of kickstarted this hobby for me of just collecting them, because I think there's something really special about listening to these scratched up records from the 50s that people bought like back then. It's like a piece of history. Like every little scratch on the record itself is just like a piece of history, and that's just so fascinating to me, and that's one reason why I love collecting records. And it has all this really cool promotional material actually inside it. As you can see, we've got magazines, and these are all out of color. These are all ancient. It's super cool, and it's one reason why I really enjoy collecting records. Just the history of it, just these basically time capsules of just people who bought these in the 50s, and yeah, I think collecting records is really cool. Anyways, moving on, enough rambling. We have the 68 comeback special from Elvis. Now, if you don't know, this, in my opinion, is Elvis' best concert that he ever did, because in 1968, basically in the mid-60s, if you don't know, Elvis was putting out a ton of crappy movies. They really sucked, and they were bombing at the box office, and the Beatles were rising in popularity, and Elvis was slowly losing popularity, and his career was looking pretty bad. Let's just say that. His movies, the songs that came with the movies were not very good, and his career was kind of flopping. But then, he got the idea to make a comeback special on NBC in 1968, where it was a return to form, awesome concert. He was wearing full leather. It was just classic Elvis, just like it was in the 50s, and it was a huge success and kickstarted Elvis' career again. So, obviously, I have to own the vinyl of it, because why not? And this one is probably the most beat up record I own. As you can see, it comes out on both sides because it's ripped, so that's not very good. And the record itself is pretty scratched up, and it skips in a couple places. But you know what? I kind of prefer it like that. I think there's just something really special about listening to it all scratched up, because it brings you back to the times. It makes you feel like you're a teenage kid in 1968 who purchased this for the first time. So that's the comeback special, one of my favorite Elvis records. Moving on, I'm not going to talk about that, this is a compilation album. Got Moody Blue by Elvis. This was the last album he ever made, and I think it's actually really good. And this one is actually pretty special, because the guy who gave it to me, the record itself is blue, and apparently that's really rare. I haven't really done any research, because, I don't really know. But if this is like a limited edition thing, that would be really freaking cool that I own that. And plus, it's Moody Blue. If you don't have a blue one, come on, that's a little bit lame. Just have a normal black one. But, yeah, I like this record a lot. It's definitely one of my most prized possessions. Moving on, these next two records I actually got from eBay, because they were cheap. And these were like $5 each. So I'm going to talk about them both at once. Here, whoops. Whatever. Here we have Elvis Golden Records Volume 3 and Almost in Love. I got Almost in Love because, one, it was cheap. Two, it has A Little Less Conversation and Rubberneckin', which are two of my favorite Elvis songs. It's basically just a compilation album from his movies. Not very special, but Golden Records Volume 3 is definitely a special case because this one, I talked about Golden Records Volume 1, and Elvis Golden Records albums are definitely some of his best, in my opinion. Because it has a lot of classic songs in here. Are You Lonesome Tonight? And if you look that up, you probably recognize a couple of them. So yeah, Golden Records Volume 3, not really old. It is in color, so it was more recent. There's no promotional material. Actually, no, there is. Yeah, there's more promotional material. I believe this was made after Elvis's death, so it's not as old as I would like it to be. Not many scratches or anything, but you know what? It's still a really cool record, and I'm very happy to own it. Moving on. Oh, I didn't really organize this. This is another record that my buddy at church gave me. From Elvis Presley Boulevard. This was, I believe, the second to last album he made before Moody Blues, so that's also really cool. It has more promotion. A lot of these Elvis records have a lot of this cool promotional material inside, which I really like. Except this one's confusing because it also rips on both sides. But yeah, nothing really else to say here. A lot of good songs on this record. And I believe, is that the end of the Elvis records? No, it's not. We have one more eBay record. I'm not sorting this right. How Great Thou Art, which is basically a compilation of Elvis religious music. And I think Elvis religious music is actually very good, even though I'm not that huge of a religious person myself. I think it's very beautiful, and every song on here is solid in my opinion. And you got songs like Crying in the Chapel, and really good music on here. And this is definitely one of my favorites that I own. Moving on, I believe, is that the end? Yes, it is. Okay, this one is definitely a more recent one. We have The Mollusk by Ween. If you don't know, well, I mean, you probably recognize this image because, you know, Ocean Man and the funny meme. But The Mollusk is an excellent album. In my opinion, is my favorite Ween album. Maybe Quebec would be more, but The Mollusk was actually bought by my mom, but she gave it to me because I'm literally the only one that uses this record player anymore. And, yeah, not much to say about it. It's very new, no damage or anything, but it's definitely one of my most favorite albums out of all of these because, I mean, it's The Mollusk. What's not to like? Every song on here is great. Moving on to my more recent records that I've purchased, we have Rubber Soul, which is, if you watched my... Okay, it looks inverted on the camera. That's messing me up, but yeah. If you watched my ranking Beatles albums video, then you would know that this is my favorite Beatles album. So, yeah, you know, I had to get the record of it. It sounds really good on my record player. Sadly, no like promotional stuff or anything. It just came in this. It came in this record sleeve that didn't even fit inside it, so I just had to get rid of it. So now it just kind of slips out, and maybe I'll have to get that replaced someday. But this is definitely a very proud thing that I own because Rubber Soul is an awesome album. That's actually the only Beatles record that I own because Beatles records are actually very expensive because Elvis records are kind of cheap because a lot of teenagers were buying them up like in the 50s and 60s. That's kind of the reason why they're so cheap, but Beatles albums are definitely very high demand because people love the Beatles more than Elvis. I'd say the Beatles are definitely more popular than Elvis. I'm not gonna say sadly because I love them both equally. But it kind of sucks that like it's $20 for a record, and if you get like $15, but it's all scratched up and damaged, and it's not even worth it because you can't even listen to the music. I know I said earlier that I like it when it's scratched up, but like I don't know, it just looks so crappy on the picture. It's like I'm not even gonna waste my time. Going on to my most recent record that I purchased. You might have seen it already because I think I showed it, but George Harrison, 33 1/3. Which is my second favorite George record after All Things Must Pass. But sadly, All Things Must Pass record's like $80. It's like, what the heck? They definitely need to do a re-release. Since it came on its 50th anniversary recently, they need to do a re-release of All Things Must Pass vinyls. Because that is overpriced. I'm not paying $80 for vinyl. Anyways, mini rant over. 33 1/3 is actually the only vinyl that I own that opens up like this. And you got this nice picture of George and all his buddies. And it has... show the record itself. It just comes in, I'll show you the sleeve. It comes in this cool sleeve, and it has all the lyrics on the back of it, which is really cool. This was cheaper than the Rubber Soul vinyl, I'll have you know, and it's way cooler in my opinion. I did get it used off eBay, but it's actually in really good condition. Here's the record itself, got like the Dark Horse logo on it, and this is definitely a very awesome record. It's my second favorite George album, as I said, and it's definitely something that I'm very proud to own. I can't get this thing in. There we go. So yeah, that's about all the records I have. I have a couple more, but I figured they're just kind of compilation albums, not really that much to say. But yeah, that's my record collection. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about me. Here's the record player I use. My mom bought it, as you can tell. It's not like vintage. Like I kind of wish I had like a vintage record player that was like from the 50s or 60s. But you know what? It has good quality sound and it plays records, so that's all I really care about. Anyways, as I said, I hope you all enjoyed learning more about me today instead of just a funny video. I'm thinking of more ideas. I'll probably have another funny video out for you all like next week or something. I don't know. But thank you all very much for watching. Peace out, everybody.
I'm gonna cop the Family Guy. My nigga, listen to Family Guy on DVD. Like Walmart. I'm gonna cop this shit. I'll shop for fans, shop for T-Money. The Jib Boss says nigga, this gang shit. Shop for I'm on broke ass nigga. I'm on.
Pizza is a vegetable.
Michelle Obama says pizza is a vegetable.
Michelle Obama says pizza is a vegetable.
You take the moon and you take the sun.
I'm warning you with peace and love, but I have too much to do.